Hello! If I still post the episode on my YouTube channel, you should know that my live stream on the previous part got banned. So this is a little just a bit of info in Twitter. We got a house. Yay! And now we're living in it. Yay! We also are in just a completely new environment. I also too want to say that we also now have a couple other things. Currently, I'm really waiting for like a 2 minute mark or a few minutes. I wasn't fully ready, but I wanted to wait because I want to say something about YouTube doing that, age restricting my live stream, which now makes me worried about taking that reaction because I don't know what they really age restricted it for, but I do have a theory. Took longer than I thought, but I should have stitched all this together. Currently, I'm scratching my little dog's head. She's not little, she's 28 pounds, reaching 30. And, hey, yeah, the reaching 30. That's currently my cats. And those cats are currently messing around with each other. Okay, hey. This is why he took longer than. I hope you don't. Don't even try. But hey, come here. My dog also tries to join their mess, but she's bigger. She can create real damage and mess. But anyway, uh, my greatest theory is that I probably put fuck AI in front of the stream, in front of the YouTube live stream thing. You know how Google is and everything is incredible, including the Golden Child AI. The bubble that we all wish to die. Though, hold up, there is one thing to think about thinking about the bubble. When the bubble collapses, it will immediately be a recession. A recession of 2008 level. And what people don't want to really talk about is that not just a recession, but a depression is what will happen. Likely. With the amount of money. It is unique with the fact that really it's money that they had on vaults in hundreds of billions of dollars worth. So it's money that they can easily say, just burn for expense. But you know how billionaires will do. They'll throw everything on the American taxpayer and throw everything on as much punishment. Hey, as much punishment on regular people's lives than their own. So while they'll feel the hurt a bit, the people feel the hurt first. And that's not a question. And that's not an if. That's a when. But after that little dark dot aside, currently I want an SCP reaction. SCP. I'm gonna put it on my YouTube channel and everything. If you've seen my SCP fanfics, there's supposed to be 4 paths, 4 currents. And we did the first one. Well, we're still in the first, early beginning in the first one. All of them are supposed to be long, probably years to complete, to really say it. And also, you want the key? Yeah, they're too energetic. One thing I can say about everything is that just be prepared when you call about the dam bursting. We all love to say the fact that we want the AI bubble to burst, and it is the better option because the AI bubble to not burst means AI's true promises of being able to eliminate the working class. And look at these people. You think they're going to let us survive after they don't need us anymore? Don't need poor people? No, no. It will be a dark and bloody situation. But yeah, anyway, simply said that before and all that. It wouldn't be a great situation either way. Depression or revolution, blah blah blah. There's a reason why depression is called depression. It's depressing. Let's go to a reaction. Currently, I wanted to do SCP stuff. Like, I currently did finish an SCP video, which was the war to end all wars or something like that. Nah, currently, I'll just do that on my own. It was by the Explorer series. Explorer series is the best with their SCP stuff. They do the highest quality stuff. Hello everyone. This is going to be a fusion between the first video a video that is going to be out of this stream and the second video, a reaction. I'm going to get to the reactions, but I want to really talk about some of these stuff SCP Explorer has because he's such a good channel. Because like those remembering times, like first spoiler warnings. If you want to watch the videos yourself, you can. And now, let's talk about the SCPs. Like the SCP signal file. Reading the comments of the Explorer series stuff, so good. It's amazing because you can sometimes get the like picture. Because like I remember a horrible, traumatizing, like even if I could refer the thing, if you know about SCP stuff, it was horrible. Not in quality, just like it makes the offer of that SCP was good. It tortures you because it makes you feel a perspective of a woman under a control of a sociopath. In some of the situations women have to deal with under men that have higher positions and just locks them into a path where they can't escape. It's horrifying and it doesn't even make you angry at it. It just makes you sad. It was like this isn't the SCP, but Signal File Line is the SCP about life. It's like almost a great metaphor to life. It was like the SCP kind of has the story of a female Foundation agent that joins a line. This line is you can basically not need anything. It 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 takes a bit of suffering because you slowly transform into the person where all your physical needs and other stuff gets frozen. Like you don't need to sleep or eat or drink or go to the bathroom or other stuff. But it takes a few hours to a few days for that to fully get to work. After a few months, you will get in. Hey, shoot! But as slowly as the woman gets so involved into the line, she sees that alienness, like like the foundation treats the people who wait in the line. She gets to a point like after 70 years, the foundation, just out of probably curiosity, eventually comes back to try to convince her. But she knows the foundation is just telling blah, 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 blah to try to study her or use her. I mean, it's a 50-50 if they're going to let her out after. Let her, let her out. It's been 70 years. And it could actually has it. No, this one was probably dead. She was at MTF and slowly transitioned into the meaning and identity. It ends with uh somewhere in the cave collapses. Don't worry, the light reforms a new connection, but while in a second she's currently stuck. But who knows how long? But at the end of the line, there supposedly is a great reward. Though the line is so long, it's more a meaning of life. Like the great reward, the great purpose behind life as you spend decades within it. See countless people, countless different stories, countless people who will try to cheat their way through the line, fail, be spiteful over other people, or a daughter who sticks in the line because he eventually found her father who went in the line when he was just starting dementia. So every day is the first day he was like just in the line. But her daughter, while having other things, doesn't want to leave her father. That's kind of her purpose in the line. Her feeling and everything. People have their countless feelings, countless needs and requirements. Anthem! N H N. What are you doing there, little kid? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come here. Come on. Sorry, I'm so congested. It's the winter. It's also going to hit with a. Luckily, I'm not in the Wisconsin, Michigan, or Minnesota. They're going to have exploding trees. I'm just going to have cold enough that's going to be potentially all the way down to -7 degrees. Ooh. But anyway, woo-hoo-hoo. So yeah, that is like that SCP 909. I mean 9,900 is like the story of the meaning of life. Some comment says that there are also other LGBTQ stuff and other stuff. So there's many other meanings you can get from it. Though that line story is like, why do we all exist? We exist to stand and wait for what? Nothing or something. Some say the line's just tricking. It extends to infinity. It's the fact that it calls itself the eternal line. Oh yeah, this one is a little bit funny. The Prince Among Men, SCP 998 900. I mean SCP 9,998. It was kind of funny because that SCP a bit on the kind of idea and concept of kind of like the Foundation was being a little bit chaotic, though it was being a little bit human. Why do I say that? Because it was an SCP where they already got reports by the UIU and other stuff that there was anomalous activity, but directly by the Foundation members themselves in the story. It was right after the Cold War, the GRU collapsed. Things would be calm at this time, though the anomalies would never take a break. And what they didn't realize is that the entire show was secretly a slowly formed version of the Hanged King's tragedy. Which means they got probably 10 millions, and not tens of millions of Americans, people in the Western world at least, watching a TV show that was a mimetic hazard, an extreme dangerous mimetic hazard, or cognito hazard. Hazard. You kind of get it. Which kind of effed up real badly. Like they had to use a orbital laser in order to stop it, and they didn't really stop it. The successor, a heir to the Hanged King, the show's creator, was brought, made. And the Foundation can say that they just made the biggest mess up they had made in a good second. A good second, not the biggest mess they made. uh, Fractal, I only watched part one, but there's part two and part three. So, probably watching more. Fractal, Fractal is at least in SCP in the part one, which will be the stuff that we're actually watching. We're going to react to Fractal Part 2 and Part 3. So this is actually going to be put as a requirement. If you want to, you can, but we're going to watch actually Fractal Part 2 and Part 3. So watch Fractal Part 1 if you want to get the start of the story. But in Fractal Part 1, they're creating the perfect fract, the perfect cup, the perfect mimetic hazard, the perfect mimetic anomaly to defend against files being intruded on using fractals. And now they had made one, but that one doesn't work on reality benders. And now they're trying to see how they can get reality benders to work on that one. And you can already see how bad it is if you know why you're going to make something that reality. And they're already speed brutes through this. They really shouldn't. They really shouldn't be doing what they are doing. They're just not even using the D class, but even having themselves see the anomaly to see if it works or not, which can be very dangerous. They're trying to make they're basically testing if the gun works by shooting themselves in the head, and luckily most of the time they fail. And the doctors are trying to say, at least shoot at the prisoner you got, not yourselves for efficiency and having to not clear out the paperwork.
How are you holding up? And ministry.
Or
2001 Fractal Part 2. The Foundation doesn't often utilize anomalies in their line of work, as most of them are kept well guarded and well locked away, but they do use certain ones when they believe they have a good handle on them. Cognitohazards are one of the more terrifying threats that someone could find out in the wild, an anomaly that could kill you just by looking at it. But the Foundation realized that something like that might work even better than a CAPTCHA for securing their most precious files. They tasked a research facility run by Dr. Berryman and Dr. Langford with creating massive amounts of them, and so far things have gone swimmingly. I think that's about to change, however. Let's take a look. We pick things up where we left off, after the Ethics Committee investigated the situation and, big shocker, found absolutely no wrongdoing. Following the investigation,
there is wrongdoing. They just mind control the people there.
in gratitude for their cooperation, Site Director Hughes granted all staff 3 weeks leave, as she and Dr. Berryman remained on site. Shortly thereafter, Dr. Langford returned and resumed work. In November of 2018, Langford traveled to Site 15 and presented the third annual Project Nietzsche schedule alignment meeting. 6 individuals were in attendance, including Director Hughes and the director of Project Medusa, and 621 more people were watching a live broadcast of the presentation. Langford holds off the presentation in anticipation of 058, but is informed that he was called away on urgent business an hour ago. Langford still hesitates, as it was 058 who ordered him to make these updates in the first place, but he's told that this is the 3rd year he's done this, and they all practically know the contents of his presentation by heart now. Langford begins by introducing himself and stating that he and his team have been hard at work trying to solve the problem of reality benders' latent resistance to visual cognitohazards. They are currently behind schedule, and he intends to catch everyone up to speed regarding how they're addressing it. They've already mastered visual cognitohazards via the Langford set, an algorithm that produces fractal imagery that can be tuned to have psychoactive effects. They call this technique fractal cognitohazardous imagery, and Site Romero 5 is responsible for production and distribution of FCIs to the entire Foundation. He then, for demonstration purposes, shows a slide of an image they're all familiar with, the hazard that elicits a mild sense of dizziness. He asks if they have any reality benders in the room, and Dr. Ackerman raises his hand. Langford tells him that he and any other reality benders watching will have noticed that they didn't feel a thing. And that's what...
Because they know the reality benders aren't affected by their fractal patterns. They're using fractals as a magnetic hazard because they know fractals are very efficient use of images, including that have infinite potential, or something like that.
Project Nietzsche specifically intends to resolve. These images are an excellent security tool, but if they're unable to affect reality benders, they're rendered effectively decorative. The question is, why are reality benders resistant to these images? The answer at a broad level is simple. Their brains are wired differently. FCIs that affect baseline humans have no guarantee of effectiveness on someone who has a brain with a different structure and different nodes. Insert a political joke of your choice here. The brain of a reality bender is simply a political joke with a different structure and different nodes. Insert a political joke of your choice here. The brain of a reality bender is simply different, and it's the sheer simplicity of the issue that makes it so difficult to solve. Dr. Miller raises his hand and says that he's taken a look at the medical data they have on file for reality benders, and he cannot corroborate his hypothesis that the brain structure is meaningfully different. There's variation, but not any more than you'd see amongst baseline humans. He asks Langford with what evidence he's making these assertions. Langford replies that he'll have noticed that they have far, far fewer brain scans of reality benders than they do of baseline humans. The crux of the issue, and the real reason their research is taking so much longer than originally planned, is that they simply do not have enough data. Any speculation in the interim is survivorship bias at best. Miller replies that that doesn't remotely answer his question, but Langford cuts him off and says that they'll discuss this later on. The number of reality benders available to them is so little, and they'd be shocked at how few volunteer for exposure to first-order FCIs. Despite...
Oh no, the Foundation's reality benders don't like to have brain scans. Who knew? They know what you're doing. And they don't want any of your tricks. Especially because they did said they would consider it if it wasn't for the fact that you tried to trick them in order to get a test subject.
Having made leaps and bounds in the area of artificial test subjects, they can't do the same for reality benders, and they're stuck working with the handful of data points that they've been able to gather. Dr. Ackerman asks about artificial test subjects, and Langford replies that he'll be covering that in a few minutes. They've submitted hundreds of requests to Site-19 for reality benders for research purposes, but naturally, they've yet to receive a single positive response. Dr. Anand asks how reality benders are meaningfully different, that they need data from more than one reality bender to produce a kill agent. Langford replies that they can only test a first-order image on a reality bender once. Proving that a single image is capable of terminating a single reality bender once is not sufficient. It must be proven that it is capable of terminating any reality bender. Additionally, one successful FCI is not a success for Project Nietzsche, as they must be able to produce kill agents repeatedly, as many as are required. Anand asks why they need more than one, and Langford explains that it's for security purposes. If someone needs access to a secret document and is therefore immunized against its protective hazard, that would render any projects protected by the same image insecure. He goes on to say that it's not as if they've made no progress. He believes that the answer lies in their computational methods, and he's been hard at work with cutting-edge refinements to their procedures and generation logic. He also believes that they've found a region of the modified Langford set that is somewhat effective on reality benders, and although they've only been able to create one weak hazard from this region, he hopes that further exploration of this region may yield better results. He shows that hazard on...
The reason why I'm being very quiet is this is very long and I don't want to take too long. And I also want to do part 3 of this series. Second, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of so interesting and entertaining to just live and talk and just narrating stories. Though I will say all the compliments and all the good things and also details if you don't know about the SCP universe. Or at least if you don't know it as much as me.
On the next slide, telling Dr. Ackerman and any other reality benders watching, as well as everyone else, that it should elicit a mild feeling of cold. The image of the cognitohazard, however, has been removed from the document, and upon switching to the slide, all audience members except for Dr. Ackerman suddenly collapse. Ackerman asks what the image is supposed to be, and Langford freezes. He slowly shuffles sideways towards the podium with the laptop, facing away from the screen, and says that it's a kill agent. He begins panicking and shuts his eyes tightly as he fumbles around under the podium, eventually finding the electrical cords to the projector and yanking them out. An AIC that was monitoring the broadcast was able to detect and intercept the cognitohazard present in the visual feed, preventing it from affecting any of the remote participants. Director Hughes, Commander Reddy, Director Vukovic, Dr. Anand, and Dr. Miller were the only casualties of the incident. So yeah, Langford thought he was showing a relatively harmless hazard, but it ended up being a lethal kill agent. Sort of like when I saw the Dark Tower movie. The following day, Langford was summoned for a debriefing by 058, who wastes no time ordering him to explain what happened. Langford says that it was a standard annual schedule alignment report to explain why the project had stalled. 058 says that the project has been stalled for 3 years, but tells him to continue. Most of the presentation was the same as last year's, including the demonstration hazard. There was supposed to be an additional demo that would prove that they're starting to be able to make hazards that work on reality benders, but the wrong image was in the presentation. The one that was supposed to be there was going to compel a sensation of cold to all involved, including reality benders. The image that was there was a kill agent, lethal to humans. He doesn't know how it got there, as anyone could have copied his presentation from last year, but they would have been missing his latest amendments, such as the new hazard. The only people other than himself who could possibly have had access to the presentation were personnel at Romero 5. Most of them knew that he was making the presentation, but the only person with access to his terminal would have been Dr. Berryman. But it wouldn't have been her. She has been instrumental to the work. She brought him on to Project Hydra in the first place, and Project Nietzsche was her initiative entirely. Sabotaging it now couldn't possibly benefit her. 058 says that they need an explanation, as someone must take the fall, so he tells him to accuse someone. Langford accuses himself, as he must have made an error, swapped a third order and a first order in the file system. It doesn't make sense, but that's the only answer he has. 8 asks him what measures were in place to prevent this from happening, and Langford admits that there were none. FCIs are just images, and they're treated the same as any other by the presentation software. Damn PowerPoint and its uselessness. He was exposed to all of the hazards in that presentation repeatedly while he was preparing it, though, so he should be dead already, unless he was already inoculated against it. That FCI and its inoculants had already been distributed, according to the AIC, so it would have already been wiped from their systems entirely, unless it was copied. He can't prove it wasn't, but proving whether or not he was inoculated would be a witch trial. 058 agrees that there's little sense in that, as they lost 5 good personnel yesterday. Langford states that he wants to leave the project, and 058 isn't surprised. Everyone has seen the recording by now, and the damage he's done to the project image is immeasurable. The phrase Berryman Langford kill agent has already arisen, presumably from mockery, but it's being baked into the Foundation's collective vocabulary. They won't permit him to leave, however, as he remains useful. Langford tells him to amnesticize him then, as he doesn't want anything to do with this. 8 tells him that they need his expertise, not his labor, so they'll find something for him to do, away from the light. Immediately afterwards, Langford was removed from Project Nietzsche and placed on administrative leave. Over the following days, experts at Site-19 and Romero 5 convened and discussed the changes to policy that would be required in response to the incident. Berryman eventually distributed a memorandum, which reads, "Colleagues, the Project Nietzsche schedule alignment meeting a few short days ago was nothing short of a travesty. Our hearts go out to those who knew Dr. Vukovic, Commander Reddy, Dr. Anand, Director Hughes, and Dr. Miller. They will be sorely missed, but rest assured that their families have been compensated. We are grateful to AIAD and to Alexandra.AIC, without whom the death toll would have been considerably higher. The disaster was an accident. The presenter, Dr. Langford, made a critical error and inserted a lethal Berryman-Langford kill agent in place of a safer compulsion agent more suitable for demonstration. This was not a personal failing of Dr. Langford, but a failing of our security and accountability procedures. A position will be found for him where he can apply his insightful and intelligent nature with no risk of any harm to anyone. We bear him no ill will and wish him the best of luck. We are taking this incident extremely seriously and are making concrete changes to ensure that no incident of this kind will ever happen again. Our foremost priority is to ensure that all cognitohazardous agents produced via the Berryman-Langford process are secure and accountable, and that the process cannot be reproduced or rediscovered without our oversight. To that effect, a new set of policies is being implemented across the Hydra and Nietzsche projects, effective immediately. These include wide-reaching and technical measures to ensure the absolute safety of cognitohazardous imagery, including new data storage policies, and the
We might have to do part 2 later. Yeah.